expand on the Piton Mountains?
Well, it's an icon. It's a physical, natural icon of the country, and it's not something that was man-made. It's not like Dubai where they created this island or anything. It's something that's just naturally created on the island. And like I said, the island is a volcanic island.
Mm.
It was made from volcanic activity hundreds of years ago, and one of the remnants of that are those two mountains that have been pushed up from the surface, from the sea, and they have kind of just risen to the heights that they are, and they're just twin peaks sitting now next to each other, one in one district called Swazel and one in the other district called Soufriere. And one of the things you need to do as well, if you're deciding to visit St Lucia, is take a boat ride from Castries or from wherever. Take a boat ride down to the west coast of the island and just kind of take in that view once you're approaching those pitons. Now, once you the way they're situated, they're like I said, they're in two different districts. So once people see the images, they try to figure out if it's kind of like the same place. They're not, but it's once you approach them from a specific angle on the sea or from the air, whatever it is, you see them just kind of right next to each other, overlapping each other. And it's something that we're really proud of on the island. Like we said, it's like I said earlier, it's one of the signifiers of the island, one of the identifiable icons of the island, natural icons. It is it's under World Heritage status because of how beautiful it is. And a couple of months ago, I think my wife was watching something on TV. It was some series. I can't remember what the name of the series was. And one of the guys in the series was talking about, visiting beautiful places in the world. And he mentioned the Taj Mahal, and he mentioned the Grand Canyon and places in Australia. And then he said, visiting St. Lucia. And, visiting Jade Mountain, which is one of the hotels in St. Lucia that overlooks those Piton Mountains. And it's just awe-inspiring. You in a country and you try to figure out geographically, how did these things get to where they are? How did they become as how they are, just scientifically. And it's just one of these things that just takes your breath away. You see videos, all of the tourist advertisements of it, like you mentioned. You get pictures and people who do paintings and depictions of the Pitons with the sunset kind of going between mountains. The view from the sea. I actually have a tattoo of the Pitons on my left arm, which is a signifier of, for me as a St. Lucian. I wanted to kind of label, post, that image of myself on my body. It's a piece about that I know my mom is not really proud of, but whatever. It's something she was not too cool about when I got my tattoo, but it's just one of the things all St. Lucians are really proud of. And it's just a natural wonder of the world. I know they say there's 7 wonders of the world, or however many they are. St. Lucia and the Pitons are definitely one of those that, if you want to visit the Caribbean, it's one of those places you have to visit.
Wow. And for a man to get it tattooed on his left arm, that definitely
love for the country. Love for the country. That's all it is.
Yeah, that definitely says a lot. This as I'm speaking to you, we're delving a lot into the natural resources of of St. Lucia today. What's it called? So we might as well just go into the sulphur mud baths and
So those mud baths, like I mentioned, it's part of something that has been put together from the sulphur springs that I mentioned, that thriving volcano place. So because of the volcanic activity in that area, we have these streams and geysers and water that comes from that area that flows through those sulphur springs. And the sulphur and the minerals contained in that that mixture, whatever you want to call it, that concoction of water, whatever it is, it's very therapeutic and very it's naturally occurring, and it's really good. So most people who have different aches and pains and just want to kind of experience something just really refreshing, you know, you go to the sulphur springs and you take a bath in those natural mud baths, like you mentioned. And, you know, you see people having a good time with it. They take some of the sulfuric mud and rub it against their skin. You know, it's a good exfoliant. So it's very good for the skin. So I like most people who go down to the sulphur springs really regularly and use the mud to kind of exfoliate their skin. They have beautiful skin. You know, so, you know, St. Lucians, like I said, beautiful country, beautiful people. You know, that's things we do when we get the chance to do it. So, and it's one of the things that you see, like you mentioned, I'm sure it came from your research. Most of the things that tourists want to do when they come to St. Lucia, visit the sulphur springs and you know, enjoy those baths and everything. But one of the things I'll mention to people who kind of want to do it, if they want to travel to St. Lucia, kind of go early in the morning, as early as you can, because you don't want to go when it's like midday, 1-2 o'clock, when you're dealing with the hot water from volcanic activity and the heat. You know, it can get a bit hot, but if you take it, good on you. You know, it's all good. But if you could go really early in the morning, it's really rejuvenating. You go down, you know, you spend the day in sulphur, you go have the sulphuric baths and that mud bath. All celebrities who go to St. Lucia have done it. You know, the rapper Ludacris a couple of years ago was down in St. Lucia and he did it. And, you know, he took pictures and put it on Instagram with the mud on his face and everything. You know, it's just one of those must-do things when you're in St. Lucia, visiting the sulphur springs and using those natural cleansing minerals and stuff to kind of, you know, bathe and cleanse your skin. It's a fully cleansing experience.
So I'm guessing the way that you said it, you've gone there plenty of times.
Not as much as I should, tell you quite honest. Again, it's one of those things where when you're back home, you're just living your life and you're just trying to see how best you could succeed and do whatever you need to do. And I probably should have gone a lot more, to be quite honest. But my dad used to take me when I was really young. We've gone on a couple of occasions where we drive down, we take an early trip, let's say drive down about 5 o'clock in the morning, and it only takes about 14 minutes, let's say, to get down to there from the Castries, the capital of the country, which is closer to the north. And that's where I'm from. And when you drive down to there, you get down there for about 6 o'clock, whatever whilst the sun is just rising, it's still pretty fresh. You have the natural botanical gardens in the area, and it's just really cool and nice. And then when you get into those warm baths, that contrast of being in that cool environment in the morning and then jumping into those hot springs, really lovely. But I haven't done it enough, and I think, like I said, I want that touristic experience when I get back down to St. Lucia. So it's one of those things I want to do again, and just experience.